Hot stove conversations about baseball, history, football, and current events that may leave you saying there's more to consider. Now, here's your host, Jack Moore.
Welcome to More to Consider. If you like what we do here, like, subscribe, leave comments, tell us we're full of shit, whatever. Do whatever, because we got Jack, Charles. Jack and Charles. How are you, my man?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right, man.
All right.
Just living in this crazy world, man.
All right, for two people who absolutely agree with each other on everything, we fight like cats and dogs, I guess, or whatever.
I know, right?
So we're going to have some fun fighting again, because I'm sure we're going to have some disagreement here somewhere. So I talked to Charles today, and I'm like, hey, we're going to do some shows. We're going to cover some things. And I said, what do you want to talk about? And go. What you got?
Crime in D.C. and the military and ICE and the FBI and whoever else that's rolling in and the people having a fit about this. I find it awfully interesting as to how people are reacting to this, especially when just last year and the year before that and the year before that, the people in D.C. were petitioning the federal government to come in and help take care of the crime issue they have there. And then all of a sudden, when Trump said, okay, I hear what you guys want, so you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now,
is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Or was it more some incidents, and then he said, okay, that's enough. The crime is out of control.
Well, you can say that it was an incident, but you can always say that it was the camel that broke the straw. I mean, the straw that broke the camel's back. You can always say that. But the Democrats were hollering about, please send us some help years ago. Up until last year, they've been saying this. And then when it's done, some of the people are like, why are you sending these people in here? We don't want them here. Actually, you asked for this. Now you're getting it, and the results are actually, I don't know if you saw the police unions percentages when it comes to how crime has decreased just over the past 7 days. It is making the Democrats, or should I say, mostly Democrats, look pretty bad. Because it actually worked. And I don't know if you heard that they said we didn't need them here because crime was down 26% over the past year or two or something like that. Problem with that is, for anybody who's ever seen the show The Wire, the whole third season about The Wire was how the police department, as they called it, juked the stats just to make it seem like crime wasn't as bad as it was. They would manipulate and categorize certain crimes differently so that it didn't rise to the level of one having to be reported to the FBI, which you pretty much can't fake too much. But also, it just made it look like the police and the commissioners and so on and so forth, that the politicians were actually doing their job when they weren't. It's the exact same thing that was happening in D.C. There was someone who worked in the police department who ended up filing a EEO complaint because she submitted the correct stats. Her supervisors told her, no, don't do that. You need to submit these juked stats that we have. And she said, I won't do it. She started getting harassed about it. So DC, first of all, it's a mess. I was just in DC a few weeks ago. That place is an absolute mess. And I was in a good part of DC. Four-wheelers riding around. Cops chasing them. I mean, I had to go into a CVS, and it's two security guards standing at the CVS, and they want to see everybody's bags when they walk in. They want to see everybody's bag when they walk out. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm in a war zone.
You are.
Yes, because I was. Yeah.
Because you were. Now, I grew up 70 miles from D.C., and I got all this Redskin paraphernalia, everything. I grew up going to RFK Stadium, which is in the city limits. I do want to do a little bit of history here because I don't know that a lot of people really understand the history. Washington, D.C., officially known as the District of Columbia and commonly known as Washington, D.C., is the capital city and is a federal district. It is a creation of the whole congressional convention, not the congressional convention, the constitutional convention, in all the battles, big state, small state, how they were going to set everything up. A bone that was thrown to the South was to get the capital. They named it for George Washington, of course. And originally, it's a 10 by 10 diamond shaped cut of it's like a diamond. And the upper half, which we look at today on the Maryland side, is the city. The lower half, which is Arlington, Virginia, was given back to Virginia. And I wanted to check to make sure. I think it was 1846. So when you see the original diamond shape, it's a 10 by 10 square, 10 miles by 10 miles, 100 square miles originally. Now it is just the Maryland side. So that's the history on that. U.S. Constitution in 1789 called for the creation of a federal district under exclusive jurisdiction of the U.S. Congress. As such, Washington, D.C. is not a part of any state. While it lies today totally within the boundaries, or the state of Maryland, it is not a part of the state of Maryland. The Residence Act adopted July 16, 1790 approved the creation of the Capital District along the Potomac River. The city was founded in 1791. I want to get to it. In 1801, the District of Columbia, formerly part of Maryland and Virginia, including the existing settlements of Georgetown and Alexandria, was officially recognized as a federal district. And when did, I want to say it's 1846, Virginia gets its portion back. Now, I'll find that. I'm pretty sure it's 1846. But here's what's important, because people are kicking this around. They're all pissed and moaning about Trump needs to stay the hell out of D.C. It's not his place to say. And it really is Congress. I mean, it's up to Congress really to run it. However, we've heard a lot in the news. The Washington metropolitan area, which includes parts of Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia, the metropolitan area, it definitely takes up a lot of great space, is now in the 2023 population of 6.3 million people. That's the greater area. That's all including the DMV, the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. And they have had an elected mayor and 13-member council governing the district since 1973, when Congress retained the power to overturn local laws and gave Washington residents the chance to vote for their own representatives. And it was basically became this question of home rule. So, D.C. home rule refers to the ability of the District of Columbia to govern its local affairs, which is established by the House Rule Act of 1973. That would have been during the Nixon administration. This act allows for an elected mayor and city council, but Congress still retains the power to overturn anything they do.
Right.
But this is where a lot of the argument's been. They've just completely turned it over to city officials, and we have the mess we have. And Congress has really not done, according to many, the argument would be they haven't done their duty. They need to step up. Go ahead.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, that's really hard to believe, right?
Yeah. Congress
Now,
didn't do their job? No way.
Again, the world has changed so much, and I get glimpses where I think, hey, maybe I'm old now. I'm much older than you are, but man, there was a time 30 years ago. And I grew up like as a kid going to D.C. Never thought anything of it. I understood the city. You kind of knew where to go, not to go. But I mean, I was 70 miles from it, and people just ran back and forth to D.C. all the time. People work in D.C. and live where I live. I was 20 miles south of Fredericksburg. But I can remember, like in the 90s, my big thing, because I love the city so much, and I'm a history buff and all the rest, I would go over and park at Arlington National Cemetery. Go see the changing of the guard, which I've probably seen a lot. I mean, I've seen the changing of the guard at Arlington, which is in Virginia, okay? But I'd go see the changing of the guard at Arlington Cemetery, walk across the Memorial Bridge right towards the Lincoln Memorial. So you walk to the Lincoln Memorial, cross over there, you see the steps where Dr. King gave the speech, and you see it's referred to the reflecting pool, correct? I guess that's the term, or yeah, reflecting pool. It's the water out there where Forrest Gump where he saw Jenny, right?
Out on the mall.
Well, you're on the way. Because you cross that, then you get to the Washington Monument, and now the World War II museum's there, the Vietnam Memorial's off to the side of that, but you keep getting it. Once you get to the Washington Monument, you start heading towards the Capitol. You're in that mall area, Smithsonian, okay. Used to do that all the time. It's a pretty good walk. I mean, when you do the math, I mean, it's a pretty good walk. But it was just so much fun to walk that mall and to see, you could go in all the different museums, see the American History Museum. They always had new exhibits. Great. And now people are getting hurt in places that are really just generally tourist locations. It used to be a great city to see the city for those purposes. And then years ago, when I was recruiting a kid for college baseball, I met a father of a kid I was recruiting that worked at the National Archives. You were there with me.
Yes.
We did that. We got to go on the roof, get to do, I don't think I'm giving up information I'm not supposed to, but we saw some pretty neat things in the archives, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, right? So, we used to just do that all the time. We met up that day. You were there with your buddy, and you were riding in from another area, and we stopped together in D.C. From what I hear now, and from what you just said, I wouldn't go anywhere near it.
There's certain parts of DC that I just don't want to go.
It seems like all parts of D.C., doesn't it?
No, honestly, it's not all parts.
Okay.
But it seems to be more and more where you wouldn't think that you would have issues like this. And a lot of people are saying, don't get caught out at night, regardless of what part of DC
what part of DC you're in. Yeah.
And okay, what do? Do you just let it continue going down the way that it's going down, all because the city council or, they just want to make people feel better? Oh, don't, we need to defund the police, and instead of sending cops out for domestic violence issues, we're going to send counselors out there. Yeah, good luck with that. And that's why you have what you have in DC right now. This is exactly why. And it's funny because I watched a video early today. Mayor Karen Bass from LA
from Los Angeles,
saying, we can't have this happening in DC because it's not going to be good. Mayor Bass, have you looked at what your city is like?
Okay, wait a minute. Let me
like DC right now.
Wait a minute, let me make sure, because I have heard some people complaining about, well, the next thing you know, Trump's going to take over Milwaukee or something, and
that's not.
But the point's been made. It's not a federal city, right? But
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but we have to explain that.
Yeah.
All those people who are saying this, they're full of it because one, they don't understand politics or history. They've never read the Constitution. They don't understand the creation of DC like you just read. Trump has no authority to do that in any other city except for DC. This is the only city in the country where he has the authority to do what he's doing. So anybody who's saying that they're afraid of this happening, what they're doing is preying on other people's ignorance.
All right. I haven't seen everything. I mean, as far as like the man on the street interviews, I've seen some. From what I understand, there was a massive amount when Trump kicked into action, whatever he did here 8, 10, 12 days ago, whatever it's been, massive amounts of arrests. People were being found that had been wanted. All kinds of things were out there. A lot of DUI pickups and things. I think they picked up a murderer, right? They picked up somebody that'd been charged with or was charged with. Yeah. So you have all this going on. Some would say, Trump fans would certainly say, attaboy, Trump, you got it there. You took matters into your own hand, or you set in motion what needed to be done to clean up this city, that it is a disgrace. And I know that was a member of the House. I'm thinking this year, like spring, that was carjacked like 2 blocks from the Capitol. I'm pretty sure about
that. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you get those kind of stories, and no one wants to see. I don't care if it's the worst member of the House or the person I least philosophically agree with. I don't want to see anybody get carjacked. But there was kind of a backlash of, see, now that it happens to members of Congress, maybe they wake the hell up and realize how bad the city is. Some will still apologize for the city and say, nah. But where I'm going with this is, from what I understand, there's been a lot of man on the street, microphone in front of people, and they're like, I'm all for Trump cleaning this up. I feel safer, and it's a great question. Do you think your rank and file DC resident is, in fact, happy that more is happening?
Yeah, I think probably percentage-wise, 75 or 80% of the people are actually happy that this is happening because they live it every day.
Sure.
Now, the people who don't want it to happen are the people who actually make money off of the chaos. It's kind of like the homeless industry. The people who are in the homeless industry make 6 figures, the vast majority of them, and the last thing they want is for homelessness to be eradicated because they wouldn't have a job.
Right.
They will whine and complain all day. We need more for this. We need more for that. But in the back of their minds, they're like, well, I don't want this to go away because how am I going to pay my bills?
Well, there's no question. And that gets back to Dr. Soul, who just celebrated that 95th birthday back June 30. That was his epiphany, which we've mentioned on many shows, that, he did the thing with the C-SPAN guy for years. And the guy goes, "You were a Marxist?" "Yes, I saw inequity. I didn't see it. Like, how could people live in these houses and their projects were over here? Can't possibly be with that. We need the government to come in and redistribute wealth." And he goes, you studied under Milton Friedman, still didn't make you a free market guy. What did? He goes, "Working the summer for the government." And remember, he worked in the labor department. And he started to say, "Wow, I'm kind of finding out that the minimum wage is actually putting younger people out of work. It prices people out because of the labor cost." And he goes, and when I went to my supervisor and said, where I'm going with this is he goes to the guy and says, "Hey, do you realize?" The guy goes, "Shut up. We all know that. But that's our job." So he was basically saying we are administering a program which in the long run is probably putting people out of work and does not help the economy or the poor people that are put out of work. But shut up. Our job is to be administrators within this bureaucracy. And if you don't shut up, we're going to lose our job.
Can you imagine where the social justice warriors would be if there was no issues? They would have nothing to whine and complain about.
But it's an industry. I mean,
that's my whole point.
Right, yeah.
The last thing that these people want is for Trump to come in and tear up their industry of crime and chaos.
I mean, it's a variation that we've all seen. And certainly I could have a team of psychiatrists trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. But have you ever known people, and I think when we get to political views, when we get to where we are politically, theologically, I mean, whatever our views are of how we all tick, where everything came from, where it's all going, I think sometimes it's just based on circumstances. But I also think that we're wired a particular way. I just think we are. I think we're wired a particular way. And certain truths may come evident to you, and then you're kind of like, "Oh, okay, that I'm putting those pieces together." And some never will. But this psychological thing I've seen people make lots of money, have a lot of material wealth, and they're the most miserable people, not because for any other reason than they create chaos. Right. You ever seen that person?
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, you're kind of like, okay, well, they're just pissed off about everything, but they're good at what they do. Like, they can literally do well in what they do. But every time you talk to them, the world's ending, things are coming apart at the seams, and they may have really good sides. They may, give a lot of money to church, or they take care of the people that they employ, or whatever. But still, it almost seems like everything's a struggle, everything's a bit session, and there are people like that. So I think it's sort of in the same light, like you're saying, there are going to be people who benefit, profit from, or create the chaos. So when you say, what would the social justice people do without? No, they're going to have something to argue about or argue for, because that's the very nature of what they do. And you do notice, go ahead.
That's true. They're going to have something, but I tell you that this is one thing that I don't want them to have to argue about: crime and chaos. I don't.
That is dangerous. I would agree with you. Yeah. And it's also so highly unfair if you're a politician and you would let people literally be in harm's way, or that which you might. Of course, we also get in. I just did a Second Amendment show with the gentleman the other day, and we're getting into that whole question of who really should be your first responder, who should really be the person that makes sure that you survive the streets. It should be you. And you should have every...
What is that saying? When seconds count, the cops are only minutes away.
I think it's pretty valid, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely a valid thing. So that being said, we are on the one... Well, and that's... Okay, this is like an anger major screw thing I'm saying. Like, this is a major screw to every citizen, all of us. If you have politicians that play these games with police protection, their views on the function of law enforcement, etc., while putting you in harm's way, but it can't have a gun. You certainly can't have a firearm. You can have a firearm to protect yourself. We got you. We're going to defund it. We're defund the police, or send out a social worker or whatever. There comes a time that someone's going to say, okay, how about screw you? I'll carry if I have to. I'll take my chances. Better that I live. Better that I live and have violated your law to my own protection. Go ahead.
What you're talking about right now is why DC just, ended up in the condition that it's in right now. Anyone who lived in the district or the DC area would know if you were a criminal, you don't commit crimes in DC. I mean, you don't commit crimes in Virginia.
Yeah.
You go across the Potomac and commit the crimes in DC because you didn't know who was carrying in Virginia, but you knew that was legal up until the Heller case.
Yeah.
It was illegal to carry in
That's right.
DC.
That's
So
right.
you went to the place where it was the path of least resistance, which was DC. It was fish in a barrel there. The only other people that you had to worry about that were carrying were other criminals like yourself.
I think there may have been another layer to that too. I thought you were going to go down another road, but I get what you're saying about the carry. But I had a friend of mine that he was appointed to a high position on an incoming Commonwealth's attorney several years ago. It was a city in complete chaos. They were losing cases to speedy trial. Like they did not get their indictments in on time. And there's a statutory speedy trial. There's a statute relative to when the indictment happens and when you have to try the case with. And they actually like lost the case with a murderer. Like I think they had a murder case. They kept the guy incarcerated and they didn't get the indictment in time. He was being held on the indictment and didn't get. They're screwing it up. Okay. Massive amounts of screw ups. So I'm at a prosecutor's convention thing with this friend of mine, and a guy in another surrounding city in this part of Virginia said, "My God, would you guys stop cleaning up the streets? Ha ha." And my friend's like, "What are you saying?" He goes, "Everybody now that we're arresting has your city's license, operator's license." So what he's in effect saying is the city of crime, where the prosecutor's office was being run like a mess, when the Cowboys come in and they start doing their thing, these Mavericks come in and start doing their thing, where do you think everybody was going? Next closest cities to do their crime. Right. So what this prosecutor was like, it's like my cops are telling me everybody they're pulling on the street now has your city's license, operator's license.
Interesting.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, because they know can't play those games at home anymore.
Right.
So now they're trying to sell their drugs or do whatever the hell they're doing in other cities because they'll take their chances over there and that's again a pretty good example of if you handle things a certain way, there's going to be a consequence.
Yes, and rightfully so. DC has been a mess for quite some time. Their mayors, the police chiefs, we go on and on and on as to what was going on in DC. I'm just happy that somebody's finally coming in and saying, you know what? We're going to come in here and at least try to help clean up the capital of the country. We're going to try to do that. And anyone who is against them trying to do that, I mean, if you take it out to its logical conclusion, that means they're for crime and chaos. That's what they like more so than someone trying to come in and straighten it up. I don't know what else people would want. I just don't, man. They just like to hate.
I definitely think it's a bad look to say that you politicize something as basic. A human right is self-defense and or collective defense. If you're going to have all the weapons, if you're going to monopolize on force, you better follow through. And if you're screwing around and you're playing political games, I agree with that, brother. No doubt. God bless you on that. Now, anything you want to say in closing?
No, not really. I just hope that things will get straightened out, and what happens in DC will just fan out to the rest of the country as to we're not going to stand for this ridiculousness anymore. We're going to do the right thing for the right reason.
Well, Richmond and Hampton and Norfolk and so many cities in Virginia have meant a lot to me. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, I mean, huge. But I think always my favorite city growing up was DC. It meant a lot to me, and it breaks my heart that you can't go see the things you'd like to see and see it in a way I once saw it. And I hope it returns. God bless you, my friend.
Same to you, brother.
All right, man. Like, subscribe, leave comments. Please tell us, what do you think of DC? What do you think of all of this? What do you think about cities in general? What do you think about police? What is the function of police? What can we do going forward to make these cities safer? Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like the show, subscribe and hit your notification button to get an update when we post another episode. See you soon.